All right, now we are live. I did the countdown, but I did the countdown before I went live, so sorry about that, everybody. This is a show I've been meaning to do for some time. I asked David long time ago if he could do this with me, and I've done one. I think I've done one other show with Robert, and that was when Bo jumped on as well.
Yeah.
But well, I want to thank you guys, Robert and David, for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Well, all right, my very first question. All right, when I think Japanese baseball cards, you two guys are the first guys to come to mind. And my very first question is, have you two ever met in person?
I don't remember. I don't think so. Unless you were at the National in Baltimore when we were there years ago.
Dave?
I'm sure I'm hearing things right. Can you repeat the question?
Let me turn this down. All right, you don't have YouTube on, do you?
Can you repeat?
All right, Dave. Dave, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right. I guess my question was, did you and Robert said if he did meet you, it was during the convention in Baltimore. Did you ever meet Rob?
No, I should have at that convention, but I didn't. I have not met Robert, and
Okay.
I glad to meet you now. Finally.
Yeah.
I think we've sent to me back and forth.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I had no idea. So this is good to know. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's your Wi-Fi, Dave. Let's see here.
Yeah, I might have to go. I'm down in the basement, and I may have to call back. Come back in from upstairs where I've got better connection. So,
okay. If it turns out to be
talk amongst yourselves, and I'll be back in a minute.
Okay, just click on that same link I sent you.
Yep.
Okay. All right, thanks. All right. How you doing, Robert?
I'm doing well, thanks. And you?
How's your Japanese coming along?
So. I'm doing all right.
All right, so explain this to me. I know there's kanji, right? Kanji is one.
Yeah.
What's the other?
Katakana and hiragana.
There's three?
Yeah, so katakana is mostly used for foreign words. Like, I just have this here.
Okay.
Is it backwards for you or not? I don't know how that looks.
I'm not sure.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Hold it up.
Let's see.
No, it's the correct way.
Okay. Yeah, so it's a Dragon's Trump. So it's a playing card set. So that's katakana.
Okay, so Trump means playing card?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so just like
yeah.
Just a regular card set.
I know you've seen this one.
Yeah.
Well, I know this is called like this blah blah. I think 1947 blah 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 Trump. That's why I assumed.
Yeah, it says all
Trump meant playing. Yeah.
Yeah. So so katakana is used for the most part foreign words like food items or a lot of baseball terminology, things like that. And then hiragana is used for other writing, and then the kanji is a lot of most sentences have hiragana and kanji in the same sentences. Sometimes katakana, depending on what they're talking about. But and I think there's only 26 katakana and hiragana, so they're not even that difficult to learn. It's kind of similar to reading Korean. You take the different, although Korean is made up of different parts to make one character, I guess. But it's the only problem, I think, like when you're reading Korean, to me, it's all like the same. It's almost like reading all hiragana or all katakana. That's why I like with Japanese, it has, the kanji and the hiragana mixed. So to me, it makes it a little, when you know the language, makes it a little easier to read.
Well, I noticed it's like when I'm looking up foreigner cards on like Shuguruya, the website. I noticed that foreign names will have the different the different usage, and that's very similar to, obviously Korean only has the same characters. They don't have a different character set, but it's spelled so it's pronounced like English. You know what I mean? I believe usually it's called loan words, like banana is spelled banana because they don't have a Korean name for that. So that's how I can tell if someone's name is whether they're a foreigner or whether they're a Japanese player. And you can easily tell the difference. Dave, we're just talking about Japanese because I know he's taking lessons right now. So I asked him how his Japanese was coming along, and then I asked him to tell me about the different type of character sets that Japanese uses.
I've been collecting Japanese cards for 20 years, and I keep telling myself I'm going to sit down and try to learn Japanese, and I've not done it.
It's funny because Gary Engel, who writes the guides that I work with, and he's been doing this for I don't know how many years also, and he actually learned to read a lot of the Japanese characters, like the names and whatnot, but he can't speak it really or understand it, but it's good when you start learning, especially if you start noticing like if you see a name like Kawakami and you see the Kawa and then you see Kawasaki and it's the same Kawa, and then you start reading the names and it makes it a little easier to remember. I think that's kind of how I learned first, learning names, or when I was in Japan looking at in the subway they have all the the station names, and you start learning them and the reading, and it gets a little easier.
All right, so if I use the Menko vintage guide with all the stuff in the beginning with what you just said, is that actually a good way to learn names if I just study that?
That helps too. I mean, there's so much online also. I mean, even using what do you call it? I also have like Google Japan set, so I could just speak the name into it. I could say like Kawakami Tetsuharu, and then it comes up in Japanese, and I can usually the Japanese Wikipedia page, and you can see everything like that too.
Okay, I need to do that. All right, George just joined us. George Shirataki. I met George actually recently. He messaged me on Twitter asking me about stuff. And George, if you can mention, I think you live in Japan, don't you? Please respond in the text grouping. Another question I have for both of you guys. Obviously, I do want to know, even though I've been talking to you guys for years now, there are a bunch of questions I haven't asked you guys. I know that Dave, you've been to Japan a few times. I don't know how many times you've been to Japan.
Twice.
Obviously, I met for everybody watching. I met Dave. Was it 2019?
Yes, 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2019. It was obviously during the baseball season. I keep thinking January for some reason, but was it June? No, it had to be July or August, right?
It was June.
June, okay. Yeah, I met Dave in June 2019, and then we went to a Chiba low-tick game against the Hanshin Tigers. Hanshin won in extra innings 3-2. But yeah, that was a blast. How many times had you been he was in Japan? Were you there for how long? A month?
A little over 2 weeks.
Okay, yeah, I know. He blogged his entire trip. It was amazing just to watch everything that you put down, your photos and your all the writing.
I went to 16 games, baseball games in 16 days.
Wow, yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So 16 games in 16 days and those 2 weeks. Before, I know you had been to Japan before that, right?
I went to the World Baseball Classic in 2013. I saw the second round in Tokyo. So I was there only for a week that time.
All right, so 2013 and 2019. Had you been to Japan other than those two?
No.
Okay, yeah, for some reason I thought you'd been there more. Okay, but I'm sure you'd like to go back anytime you can, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We just can't now.
Yeah, another question, Robert, I had. All right, I know I've seen you in publications, in Japanese publications that you'd show us, whether it be for wrestling or whatever, or baseball or whatever it might be. This is a dumb question. I'm assuming the answer is yes. You've lived in Japan, right?
Yeah, I lived in Japan from 1996 to 2002. And the first year I went to Japan was actually in 86. And I just went because we had a Japanese exchange student in our high school. So, and graduated in 85, and then 86, I went with a couple of friends to visit him in Nagoya. And then I think the next time I went was 88 in December. And I actually stayed for about 3 months. And after that, I've been to Japan every single year or lived in Japan, except for last year and this year, since we can't go. So broke my streak.
Wow.
You ran a card shop, right?
Well, I was working at a card shop. Herb Cook was from Arrow International. He was mostly a coin dealer, and he opened the card shop. I don't know if it was in '94 or '5 exactly. And I went there in the end of '96, and so I was helping out in the office in the card shop. It was a small one on street level. And then a year or so later, they moved it to a much bigger place, and it was a basement. It was downstairs, and it was a much bigger place. But there was a Japanese guy that was, they call him the Tencho, the store manager, and I was helping with a lot of stuff in there. But that was the whole time I was there.
But I think you and I have a friend in common. Hiro Nogomi, who I think worked there.
Oh, Hiroyuki Nogami.
Yeah.
He lives in Niigata now.
Yeah.
And I talked with him a lot. Yeah, he worked there. I think when he started, he was like 18 when we were there. And I think he just turned 48 or something. So,
that's right. His birthday was a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I used to buy cards from him because he would sell on eBay. And then when I came to Japan in 2013, he actually came down to Tokyo to meet up with me.
Oh wow! Yeah,
I think he was coming down to see some wrestling thing too. But
yeah, he loves the wrestling, and he loves the AKB, the girl singers and stuff. And
yeah,
he did all that stuff. Yeah,
he's another Marines fan, Dan.
What? Oh, is he?
Yeah, Nogami. Yeah, he was at Chibolote Marines, and he was a big Julio Franco fan. I remember.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and Julio Franco played for my Samsung Lions.
I think he played for everybody.
Yeah, at one time or another. And he's still playing.
Probably still playing.
He was up in the BC League for a while.
Yeah.
A question I did have for you guys. All right, when I think Japanese vintage cards, I think I always blank on the names, but I know he mentioned it in his on his PDF file. I'm drawing a blank. Who started the guide?
Gary.
Gary.
Yeah. He mentions all the names that he said. Thank you for these guys for contributing to the guide, and I'm wondering if you had met any of those guys that he mentioned, and like Robert Fitz as well. Have you met Robert Fitz?
Yeah. I was just chatting with Fitz asked me some questions. Let me see. He mentions Philip Block, Tim Tyra, Robert Grimm, Scott Gates, Dan Walsh, Nelson Okino, were a few of them. I don't know. That was in the recent one, but and also Dennis Sujimoto. Yeah, he had passed away. Actually, I never met Scott Gates. I guess he's still living in Japan. I haven't heard from him in a long time, but years ago he was big into Calby cards. But I don't know what happened to him. But I think most of the other ones I've met or known.
Okay.
I've met a handful. I met Rob Fitz. I've corresponded, more corresponding with people than met him. But I don't know who all's on the list. I've talked some with Paul Margio.
Yeah, Paul Margio. Oh yeah, he was a long time ago. Yeah.
And Ralph
Pierce.
Yeah. Spacing Ralph's name for a minute. Ralph actually got me a lot of information about all those guys. I mean, I'm in amazement of all those guys being able to do this without an internet.
Yeah, Ralph was in touch with I think Mel Bailey and.
Mel and Bud Ackerman.
Yeah, and and also Larry Furman in Kobe.
Yeah, I've talked to Larry a couple times.
Yeah, it was interesting because I think it was 1988. I probably have it here somewhere. There was a Shukan baseball magazine, and so I put a little thing in there to correspond with somebody, and I was corresponding with this one guy in Japan, And when I went there, and it was, I guess it was end of '88, he took me to, and met him in Kobe. He took me to Marty Keenert's restaurant, and then I ended up meeting Larry Furman then, and that's how I've known them. So I've known them for like 32, 33 years already.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was it was winter, and I did get sick because we walked from the station. But that was different because like people were buying top sets, and some of the completed sets for like $200-300 a piece. They were really expensive, with the shipping and finding them, and there was no other way to get anything.
Yeah.
And I went to a few places. There was one place, I think it was called Baseman near Tokyo Dome, when they first built the Tokyo Dome, and he was selling sets and things like that from the U.S. And it was real expensive. But now it's pretty easy to get anything.
Dave, have you met any other than myself? Have you met anybody in person that is into Japanese cards?
Well, Ryan Glusing, Sean McGinty, lives in Nagoya. Writes the blog "Getting Back into Baseball Cards in Japan."
Okay, I remember him posting on your responses on some of your blogs. That's
yeah, I've seen him online.
Yeah. Justin Schaefer.
Oh, yeah, you met him in Baltimore when he went there, right?
Well, he's from out in Hagerstown, so we actually met up for a ball game in Frederick a couple years ago, and then we went out to dinner with him in Arizona. We were out there a couple years ago, so I met up with him a couple times. There's a couple other people. Jason Presley, who writes Clydesdale cards. He's a big Tuppy Rhodes.
Where did you meet him?
He came up. His wife had a conference in Baltimore, and so we came up. He came up with her and went down and met him for dinner.
Okay.
So, I'm trying to think of anybody else. Those are the big ones.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of people I've corresponded with off and on, over the years, but those are the ones I've met in person.
Okay. I guess, I mean, I don't even know this answer, but and I'm sure a lot of people who follow Japanese cards would love to know this, because I consider you guys the Saruhoro and the Nagashima of Korean card or Japanese cards. All right, I guess I'll start with you, Robert. Can you tell me? Can you just I mean, I know you could talk about this forever. Can you basically tell us where it all began for you with Japanese cards and living in? Perhaps it started with you living in Japan. I'm not sure.
No, well, it started before that. Back in I think it was '89 when I was there. I actually found I guess it was in Nagoya. I found some cards. There was from 1950. They were in the little green packs. It was the Kagome packs, and I found some other different Mango cards, and also I did get a whole bunch of Calby packs from that year. And I was doing some work with a guy in Miami, so I sent everything to him, and he ended up, I don't know, selling them to a dealer, Don Lepore, and he put them in Baseball Hobby News, and he started selling them, for kind of high prices, single cards for like $40 or something, and the packs for 150 or whatever it was. And I go, wow, there seems to be some interest in this stuff. So, every time I went to Japan, I was looking more and more. I go to Shimokitazawa area in Tokyo. They had a lot of used toy stores and things like that. So you'd have to, there was no internet, so you'd have to go looking around. And I remember I used to find things, and I wanted to show people back home what I got. Do you want more? What do I, what should I do? But there was no way to show anyone, because unless you took a picture and faxed it somehow, I couldn't get any images back. So it's so different than now, with the technology. But even in I think it was '89, I brought some stuff, or it was a year after, I don't remember. And I set up at a flea market in Yoyogi Park, and I brought some American things, and I was selling some things there, and it was just, I don't know, just getting exciting. So I just kept looking for cards and memorabilia. And at the beginning, when I look back, I bought a lot of really junk, just stickers and things, because you buy anything you could find at the time. And I just started finding more and more, and I realized there seems to be more interest in it too. and I was doing some shows in San Francisco and the National and a few other ones in the early '90s, and it was more and more interest. I was meeting different people, and it was fun. And then, as far as the modern cards go, Marty Keener was friends with the Baseball Magazine president, and he convinced them and got them to make cards in 1991. So they started making in the packs, and that's where the BBM cards came from. And they weren't allowed to sell them overseas because of the copyrights with a lot of the team logos. So I ended up buying sets through Marty, and we bought, I forgot how many, 1,000 or so, or a few thousand of the factory sets and a lot of boxes, and we were selling those at the time. So, and it just took off from there, and seemed to be a little more and more, more interest. And they were doing card shows in Japan too. Even in '91, we set up it was in Mizuno, in the Kanda area in Tokyo, and they had a small card show. I think just me, Larry Furman, and then BBM had their own cards there. And it was just really small beginnings. And we used to even run a few card shows. I'd set up, me and another guy, and even in Marty's restaurant, and I'd ship a whole bunch of stuff over, and we'd rent little different places and have small card shows, and it's kind of how it started, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Nostalgic.
Do you remember how much boxes were?
Oh, the BBM boxes?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they were 6,000 yen was the like a little under $60 for the the regular price. And it was interesting because at the same time somebody else had bought a whole bunch, somehow got from Calby in 1991, and made a lot of sets up and was selling them. And the Calby sets were selling for a lot more because they were a lot harder to put together. The BBM sets were in factory sets, and they were much easier to get. The Calby cards, usually you can buy only one card at a time attached to a pack of chips, but he was able to get thousands of them and was making sets, and they were selling for a lot more money. And I think they're still a lot harder to get, the Calby cards.
Now those boxes, that's boxes of packs or a box set?
In '91 they did both. They had a factory set they made two different factory sets. One was kind of for the Japanese market. I think it was labeled one of 1,000, and then they made the other box, and it was labeled of 7,500. But I don't think they ever made that many anyway.
So was there one that was kind of marketed for the U.S.? I mean, that's why. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Because Conseco was on the box of one of them. The box I have has Conseco on it.
Yeah. I think it was the low. I'm trying to remember the lower number box, because I was at the ceremony or whatever they call it in Tokyo when they introduced the sets, and they had the commissioner of baseball, it was the presidents of both leagues, and also Shigeru Chiba was there, and Shigeru Sugishita, who's actually still alive. I think he's going to be 96 or so.
Yeah.
And they were both there, and I mentioned the commissioner of baseball, and I met them, and that's when they introduced the cards at the time, and I was right before the card show that they had. And so they made a big deal. The All-Star sets they made a lot, very limited in the little white box, and then they had the Japan Series set after that.
I always liked those sets, the All-Star set and the Nippon Series set. I was really hated that they stopped making them.
Yeah, I have, and the first one sold out, I guess, pretty quickly, and you find them on the aftermarket and whatnot. But that's kind of how that whole thing began. I still have. I picked up some unopened boxes of. I have them on eBay too. Of the '91 BBM packs.
Oh, I wish I would have searched for those.
Yeah, I have. I got a few on actually, I bought a case from somebody that had it. I don't know, last year. So.
Okay. That was back when they had good decollation, right? Because you could open the box, the box of packs, and you wouldn't get any doubles.
Yeah, and I don't remember exactly how it worked, but if you looked at the bottom of the box, they had different numbers on them. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, and I don't remember if that kind of helped put the set together, but yeah, they did it like that. And I do remember the set number 1. I think they gave to the commissioner of baseball, I believe, when they. I have a few pictures floating around from that ceremony. but that was 30 years ago.
Now, wait. Now, I guess I could ask you this because you said you were there in '89. Was that the first year you were there? '89?
Well, '86 was the first year, but end of '88 is when I was there. I was there for like a little over 3 months, and I was looking around for stuff and going to flea markets and antiques, whatever I could, antique shows and stores and whatnot.
Was Takara popular at all with the gaming cards?
Yeah. Takara started in '78, and it was only, I think it was only the Giants and the Tigers that came in a big game board box. I think I have one here, but it doesn't have the cards in it. And it's got a board, and there's the 2 sets. And then later,
I think it was the whole Central League for like a couple years, and then they didn't start doing the PL till like '81.
Yeah, it could be. I don't remember offhand. But yeah, they were popular. You can go to the store and but they were mostly sold in toy stores, not card. Well, they didn't have card shops really, but mostly toy stores, and you can just buy whatever set that you want. And
they're all mug shots.
Yeah.
91.
Yeah. Actually, I bought I posted on Twitter, but I ended up, when I was in Japan, bless you. Nobody says bless you in Korea or Japan, I guess, but I had a case of 48 sets of all the Oryx team from 1996.
I saw you selling that.
Yeah, it's in the Leland's auction now. They took it on consignment, and so I actually have a lot of 96 Giants, but Matsui kind of took a dive, so Ichiro's still popular. But yeah, I saw you had I think it was a 90 Nomo recently.
Well, I've had it for a while, but yeah, every so often it comes up.
I thought Dan had one too, 90 Nomo.
Yeah.
He was going to send it in for grading or something.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny you should mention that. I actually just bought, because he has 2 base cards in that set. And the one where he's like stretching is the one I have, and then he has another one with like a really cool looking jacket on.
You're talking 91 Calby.
I'm sorry, I am.
Yeah, Calby. I think there was 2 regular ones and then some other ones.
Yeah, there were a bunch of Nomos in the 91 Calby.
Yeah, and then BBM had a few of the leader cards, I believe. And
he had like 6.
Yeah. I'm not concerned with getting those. I just wanted the 2 base cards to send in to get graded.
Which you're gonna have to wait a while.
Yeah, I don't know. You saw my post. I sent in 12 cards, all Asian, and 3 of them came back. 2 were N6, which is minimum size requirement, and then another one's N9, unidentifiable, and that's infuriating to wait 11 months and get 3 of them out of 12 to come back ungraded.
Yeah, and I mentioned I had sent in over. I have 300 cards. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I sent in 2 orders. I have over 300 cards there, so maybe I'll get them back next year. I don't know.
And this is the Calby I was talking about.
Yeah. Hey,
he has another one that I just bought on. I'm sorry, I used Bai to get it, so that should be coming sometime in the next few weeks. So I have, I think I have 4 normal cards, and of course the Hideki Urabu.
Yeah.
I'd get that really.
I don't know about going to Korea, but EMS from Japan, they raised the price on it, and it's been slow. It's taken a week from Osaka just to arrive in New York. I'm waiting for a package.
I'm getting spoiled. Zen Market's been sending me stuff FedEx, and they're having a thing right now with 25% off any international shipping. So I just got stuff they shipped I think I paid for it Wednesday and it showed up today.
Wow. Yeah, like Bai was using FedEx and DHL. It was really fast, and then once EMS started, they started going with that again, and it's been not that good.
Yeah.
At least it gets here, but it's a bit slow.
Orion sent me stuff last year, Surface, and it took 3 months. So
yeah, I had a few things that guy sent me from Tokyo by C-mail, and slightly over 2 months, and I'm waiting for he sent some other stuff too. That's probably he sent last month, so maybe I'll get it next month.
I was on Justin's show. Justin joined us. I was on his show. I want to say maybe last week, and I showed him my Isung Yup cards and my PSA graded Isung Yup cards, because I didn't have any of them sleeved. They were all just stacked against each other. And Justin's like, "Oh no, you better sleeve those." So I did buy some sleeves, and I got them all sleeved, and now they're in there. So Justin, you should be happy. They're all sleeved in there now. Dave, I don't know how long you've been. When did you get into collecting Japanese cards?
I picked some up during the 90s at times.
Where?
Although I was mostly collecting minor league cards, but every so often I go to a card shop and I find something interesting and I pick it up. But it wasn't until probably 2000 that I decided to really like seriously collect them. And by about 2002, I decided I'm done with everything else. I kind of gotten tired of the minor league card stuff just because you're always chasing the hot prospect, and a lot of times the hot prospect doesn't work out. It was funny. You had put something up about, I think you graded that Birmingham Barons card with 4 guys, Burley being one of them. It's like, yeah, I remember buying that set to get Joe Creedy, but yeah.
Well, at least he played for a long time.
I guess. But I think that set actually came with an autograph card, so it wasn't cheap. And it's like, yeah, I could probably pick it up again for a couple bucks. But yeah, so that's when I started collecting. I don't have a really good story. I mean, people ask me like, "Why did you start doing it?" And I'm like, "Well, because they look cool."
What? All right. Do you remember any of the first few Asian cards you bought in a shop in the 90s? Or
well, remember, I actually, it was funny because when Robert was talking about people coming, having 91 BBM being sold in the U.S., there was a card shop in Frederick, Maryland that I stopped in. I was actually coming back from a baseball game in Hagerstown, and I remember buying a pack of 91 BBM there. I couldn't tell you how much I paid for it, and the only card I actually remember from it was a stolen base leader card for Koji Akiyama, who ended up becoming one of my favorite players once I knew who he was. But a couple of years later, I got some like 92 Calby and I think a 92 Takara Carp set at a store near my parents in Delaware. And I ended up buying some cards from somebody at work who'd been to Japan for business and picked up some cards. So I got my first Nomo from him. But then it was later when I started picking up more stuff off eBay.
Okay, yeah, I forgot about eBay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, what was I going to ask you? I'm having a brain fart. You were just talking about it. Excuse me. No, I think I lost it. Yeah, I remember. Oh no, what I want to ask you guys, Robert, I think, are you mostly just into vintage, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. As far as collecting cards, you're more into vintage, right?
Yeah, and actually mostly more memorabilia. I mean, I collect personally stuff from the Meiji and Taisho era, so that's up until like 19.
How many cards from then?
There's not many cards. That's the problem. From like up to 1926 or so. But I have magazines. I collect the Yakyukai magazine. You can see if you go to yakyukai.com, you can see my collection.
Oh wow!
And I have like, I don't know, 500 Yakyukai magazines. I have a lot of books from Meiji and Taisho era, and I didn't count them yet, but somewhere around maybe 2,000 postcards. So since there are not many other cards, I have a lot of postcards from that time period. And I even collect, if the price is okay, I got some 5, 6 of the same ones with, Waseda team pictures. And
so do you have any of the, like when the U.S. collegiate teams went over to play, like Waseda and stuff? Do you have those?
Yeah, I have some. It's some from the 1922 tour. There's a lot of tours: Wisconsin, Chicago. Actually, I posted on Twitter. I have the 1908 Washington University. I have three different tour tickets from that series. Wow. 1, 2, and 3. And but most of the stuff I collect, you know, because I do this all the time, so I can't collect everything because otherwise I wouldn't sell anything. And I also have been collecting the Hall of Fame autographs, and I have a big collection of. In 2007, there was a collection in the Sotheby's auction in New York, and I ended up getting, actually through Gary, a lot of the Hall of Famers from the 30s.
Oh wow!
That were in there. You know, some guys like even Koshimoto, who's from Hawaii. I think he died in 35. Now, there's a lot of rare ones. So and I do have a few different older cards. A lot of the ones I have obviously are generic, but I have some. They're on the yakukai.com also. You can see round ones. I have rectangle ones, from the early 1900s. But of some of them might be actual players, and most of them aren't though.
Yeah.
And Dave, I know you collect. Well, I know you have a lot of modern stuff, but I know you do have some older stuff. Do you aim for everything, or just certain things?
I've kind of stopped doing a lot of vintage, just because I feel like I'm a set collector more than anything else, and a lot of the older sets, it's there's no way I'm going to complete them, because a lot of times they don't even know how many cards were in the set, so I've just kind of I've cut back over the last couple of years. I'm not getting much vintage stuff, but and the modern stuff, I'm usually buying complete sets. I don't open stuff just because I tried collecting BBM that way, when I started out, and it took years to finish a couple of the sets just because the decollation was so bad. And it's like I can't walk into a card shop here in the States and buy the singles that I'm missing.
Wrappers.
Yes, wrappers. Quad sports. Love quad sports.
Yeah, quad.
Wrappers moved, I think. They were
Jimbocho, right?
Near there. They were Akihabara near.
The first time I went, they were in Akihabara.
Yeah, the first floor on I think it was on Chuodori, the main street.
Yeah.
And then I think they moved. I don't even know if I went to the other shop or not.
I thought they were when I found the entrance on the bottom of the elevator. Wasn't it in Jinbocho?
Yeah, that's the one. That's where they moved to.
Okay, all right.
That's what. So it's funny when Dan and I were going to meet there one morning when we were both in Japan at the same time, and I'd never been to the store before because the only time I'd been was when they were at the old location, and so I got there before Dan, and I know they're like on the 7th floor, so I came around, I saw the staircase, and I walked up the staircase. I got to the 7th floor, and the door's locked. And I'm there was nothing that indicated it was a store or anything, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. So I come back downstairs, and I'm sitting at the foot of the stairs, and I just had hip replacement surgery, so I'm doing all this with a cane. Dan comes by and he goes, I said, I can't find the store. And he's like, oh, you got to take the elevator. I'm like, what elevator?
Well, the elevator was hard to find. I'll give you that much. You have to go inside the little nook and look to your left, I think it was. And it wasn't easy to find.
Yeah. So when I did my post about that store, I made sure to explain, this is how you get there.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite shop?
Me? Probably Quad Sports.
Okay. Where is that?
They're in, I'm going to say it wrong, Takada Nobaba.
Yeah. That's near Waseda University.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's by Waseda. It's 2 stops down from Ikebukuro. I think it's right between Ikebukuro and Shibuya or Shinjuku. I can't remember. Whichever of the two is further north.
Yeah, Shinjuku, Ikebukuro. Yeah, Takada Nobaba is all in the Yamanote line in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Quad Sports, Robert, I don't know if you've gone to shops when you've gone back recently. Did you have whether it's still there or not, do you have a favorite shop in Japan?
Oh, I used to go to Joe's Sports, Hiro Shige. He's the one that ran the Japan Sports Card Association, and he was one of the first ones that opened the store. And he was in, I forgot where his shop was, but Yeah, I used to go there. I think it was, I don't remember, Christie's. I think it was in Shibuya. This is like when I was living there or before. And the problem is most of the shops now, the mint shops and all of them just sell mostly new cards.
Right.
And I mean, years ago when I was going to Japan, I was buying all the American players and bringing them back. And I have like thousands of them now, and I got to figure out what to do with them because, they don't, trying to figure out, because I know there's player collectors and team collectors and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, the store that I worked at, it was one of the biggest ones as far as space, and we had a lot of stuff in there. And it was called the Ballpark. And then, but yeah, at the time there was quite a few stores all over. And then my friend in Osaka still has a shop, Card Dynasty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It surprised me that, I mean, it seems like there's a lot of stores in Japan, but they're all like in the Tokyo area. Because the only store I knew of in Osaka was Mint Umeda.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a shop for a long time in Osaka, and that's near, kind of near, I think he was in Hitaku, Doyamacho. So it's, it's a small shop though, and and a lot of them mostly sell American stuff or just BBM stuff. If you wanted to find older cards, you'd have to go to toy shops and flea markets and whatnot, and even that's was a lot of hit or miss.
I actually have a question from Diego, and maybe you guys can answer it however you want. But he asks, "What impressed you most about overseas cards?" I suppose it could be anything. So for you guys, maybe Japanese. I don't know if any Korean cards impressed you, but what do you like most about Japanese cards? I personally love. So there's been Bandai, Takara, Kanebo, BBM, Epic. I'm not sure how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Epic. Who am I missing? Am I missing anybody? Konami. I mean, I think Japan, especially BBM, and the cards I've seen some Epic. I mean, their designs are amazing. The quality of the cards seem very nice as well. And I personally think they blow American cards out of the water. Topps has been very lazy with their designs the past 7-8 years. I mean, some people hate all the artist projects. I think it's creative, a good idea. A lot of people shit on it though. But I guess my question, I just love the designs, and they have a lot of they don't have a lot of parallels, like rainbow parallels like Topps has had, which people get tired of. I mean, don't get me wrong, BBM has the gold autograph, the silver autograph, sometimes red or whatever, and those I don't mind. And
there's like 5 different ones, yeah.
Right. Not what, 36 of one card for a parallel,
Yeah.
It's ridiculous what Topps has done, but I mean that's probably what I like the most. Is the creativity, the designs, stuff like that, and the way they produce stuff, and they have the team sets, which Topps doesn't do. You obviously have to build your own team set, but I'm just wondering what you guys think as well.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, the things that really attracted me when I first started like really buying in around 2000 was, I mean, I really liked like the design of the 2000 BBM set was really nice. I like a full bleed photo on the card and things like that. And at the time, and for a number of years after that, I thought BBM's photography was amazing. Now both them, Calby, and Epic have all been kind of stuck in a rut, I think, over the last like 5 or 6 years with some of the photos where it's like, okay, we're gonna give you a set that shows batters batting and pitchers pitching and catchers catching, and that's it, but every so often they'll do some more entertaining stuff on it. I just got the second version set in today and was surprised to see that there's some pretty good pictures in there. The cool thing about the team set, it would be difficult to do this in the United States with the way the rosters work, but it's really cool that for all 12 teams in Japan, BBM puts out a team set that gives you a card of everybody on the roster. So there's 70 guys basically in the team's organization, and you get all 70 of them. And that's that's pretty cool if you're a fan of the team. Now, I mean, obviously, if your Topps wanted to do that for the Orioles, that's going to be 200 something guys between the major league roster and the 4 teams in the minors. But or maybe not 200, but still 150. So it'd be a lot more difficult for them. The other thing that I always really like about both BBM and Epic, and actually Calby does this now too, is it's the same number of cards per team. So even though Yomiuri is more popular than Oryx, the first version set this year had 27 cards for each team in that set. They didn't decide, oh, we're gonna only do we're gonna have 30 Yankee cards and only 1 Royal card. So I like all that.
Okay. Well, I know, Robert, you're not really into the newer stuff, right?
Yeah, not too much. Actually, I found this online.
Yeah, the Rangers had 1 card a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, exactly.
These were made by Epoch. These are it's a women's baseball league, I guess.
Yeah, we got those. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think these are a couple of years ago, but I thought they were pretty cool, so I picked those up. But yeah, I think the one thing, like BBM for a lot of years, the backs always said "Did you know" on it, and it was like people were getting tired of seeing the same design. It was like they needed to change it up a bit. But I mean, when they started with the Diamond Heroes, I mean, those were really high quality in '96. Yeah. The inserts that they had, I mean, I guess they were run producers and mound masters and things like that. And then they started even with the jersey card in '97. They had the Matsui jersey card. And I don't know if anyone even knows this. They made a large card. It was like this big. And it was almost like 8x10 of Matsui. And they used his real jersey, like the whole letter. And they made, I think, 1 for each letter. It was, I don't even know how, I forgot how they even got it. That card was really, really rare. Also in '98, they made like 8x10 cards of the Diamond Heroes. There were certain players, and I forgot how they were distributed too. Those were I remember seeing them just a couple of times.
Did you know about them, Steve?
Yeah, there was.
I did not know about them.
Yeah, there was. I remember seeing Ichiro. It was a big card. It looked like the regular card, and they came up with some interesting things. But
I like so the first year that I really was buying the boxes of cards and everything was 2001, and I really like they had the insert of the best 9 that was like the 3D cards, like the lenticular, like sports flicks kind of stuff, and then the Gold Glove cards were like plastic and transparent, and it's like I'd never seen anything like that, really before.
Yeah, I don't know. My room's a mess. I got stuff all over the place, but.
Yeah, I love the diamond heroes that you just mentioned. These inserts, these I mean, I've been spending a lot of money buying just foreigner cards, but I do love I also love the Touch the Game inserts.
Okay.
There's a 99 Diamond Heroes.
Yeah.
This is nice. It does really pretty. I mean, I think it is pretty anyway. But the one I really like, I think it was 98 Diamond Heroes. Let's see if I can find it. They had they had little like art splotches on the corners. Trying to find it here. There's this isn't it, but I like this 2000 Diamond Heroes. I like that set.
Yeah, those were all pretty high quality cards. And I remember because the guy when I worked for Herb, he'd buy lots and lots of cases, and you open them all up. He wanted to make sure he had enough quantity of all the inserts, of all the regular cards. So anybody needed a card, they can come and get it. And even the Calby cards, every time they came out, hundreds of cases of potato chips we had stacked up to the ceiling, and they take off card one by one by one because they wouldn't sell you just the cards. You had to buy the chips. So either we were eating chips or they were donating them to local restaurants and stuff. You just take the chips. We don't even want them anymore.
I've seen the shops where they'll be selling the chip bag, the chips without the cards on it for like 10 yen.
Yeah, and those are cool. Back in the I don't know until what year when you bought the chips, the clerk at the convenience store or whatever would hand you the pack. It wasn't attached originally.
I've heard of that. I don't know when they switched that.
Yeah, because I've seen you can buy packs, from the 70s or 80s, where all, like it was 25 or 50 Cowboy packs in one package. But even those I've opened up from packs, and trying to get a perfect card is not easy. Trying to get a 10 or a 9 if you were going to get them graded it's still difficult.
Diego, maybe you can help me. I love the die cut art ones you showed like a week ago. I'm trying to think of what that was. I'm not sure if they were Japanese. I love the die cut art ones you showed.
Some die cut Menko cards you were showing, I think.
Oh, the Menkos. Yeah.
Oh, the ones from the 40s?
Yeah, 40. Yeah. Well, this one's an actor. Yep. This one's an actor, but this is the die cut. I mean, there you go.
That's what I meant. Yeah, that says Chunichi Gun.
The comedian or actor?
Yeah.
I don't know if you're.
Yeah.
I just bought it. I don't want to say crap ton, but I did buy a lot of Menkos on Bai this past month, so I should be getting those in about a week or two, and I'll do another video on those. As far as Menkos, Robert, do you have a favorite set for Menkos?
Oh, geez.
And Dave, I guess you as well. I mean, do you have any favorite Menko sets? All right, and let me. Where's my link?
What?
I was thinking about setting that for grading, just to have it slabbed.
Yeah, that's 64. I don't know.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah.
Marashu.
Yeah, that's, I guess, one drawback with so much of the Japanese cards. There's no years on them. There's no numbers. It's so hard to figure out what they are. I mean, Gary did a great job because he had so many of them to figure out, what years and how many cards are in a set, and who's in the set, and everything. And sometimes you update things and you find out new stuff. But that's, I think, one of the big drawbacks of collecting Japanese cards for a lot of people is they can't read them. So then they don't know who they are, or they don't know a lot of the players. But a lot of people don't care, and they like them because of the design, or they start learning about the players.
And some of the artwork on those cards from the 40s and 50s is just amazing.
Yeah.
This is the young player set, and so obviously these are ones that I need. But and what I love most about this is the back, and they have the little young player on the back, and they're all different. I plan on making some shirts with these designs. Let me know if you guys are interested in getting one. I'm working on the design right now for t-shirts.
Yeah.
But
Actually, I made a few t-shirts for the National that I wore with some card designs, magazine designs, and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm working on. Yeah, I just love these, and they got the name on the back and obviously the random number. But I love these cards, and these are so cool. So I love this set, and I also like the Action Baseball. Which is a big set for the Menkos that he has listed. So again, I love the back. So these are all actions, obviously not entirely different looking on the front, but this is actually a full. No, I don't know if these are all. These are not all in order, but what I love is the back. This is one design I'm working on for a shirt. Is I basically I scanned all these cards, the backs and fronts, but I scanned the backs, and I just basically. I cut out the diamonds in the player, so his feet are out there. So all of this is out of the image, so it's just these players. And I'm making like a basically maybe 4-4-4-4, and then that would be on the T-shirt. So I'm excited to get that printed. But yeah, I love these Menkos.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Robert. Did you actually have a favorite set or a couple of favorite sets?
I mean, I guess it's considered Menko. I mean, the 1929 Nichiedo set, they look like bookmarks. They're black and white ones of college players. And back in, I think it was 93, I actually found a pack of them, the original unopened pack. Wow. And I bought it at an antique show. And I'm like, they're not even professional. It was so long ago. And I'm like, they're not even professional. Is this even worth it? I don't even know what they were really. And I'm like, so I pulled a couple out, because they're in that taba, the pack. So I pulled a couple out and go, that's probably not smart. So cut the bottoms and just slid the cards out. So I had the original pack, and I mean, they were just beautiful cards. But a lot of the cards are really weird because the only team card in that set was the Waseda team, but there were players from KO and Jose and Rikyo and other college, and so who knows if that ever exists. But I think I've had 3 packs total, all the years. I think they actually all came from the same people in Japan, and but just interesting. It's just it's kind of a memory that I have. Also, the mask set from I felt, I mean, that was like early 90s. I was in a store in Nakano, I think, and the guy actually had them in a store on the ceiling. they were in little sleeves and they were thumbtacked. I go, what are those? Those are cool. And then you see them once in a while online, but I always like those sets.
Well, when Dan was talking about the die cut cards, I was thinking of like, there's what he showed, but I mean, they had a whole bunch I don't have any of them because they're all expensive, but they've got the masks, they had the airplanes, and there were the kite ones too, all from the late 40s. I mean, it was pretty wild.
Yeah, and then there's a bunch of different kind of masks too, some that are rarer than the set that you often see. And then the airplanes too, there's different designs that we've had in the past that are like, that you hardly ever see. And so it's interesting when I find them, it's like, it's pretty exciting because it's not like, I mean, you can look at last Heritage Auction, how many Ty Cobb cards did they have?
Yeah.
There's so many, and it's like for American stuff, look how many Babe Ruth autographs are in an auction. I go, I don't even remember the last time I even had like a Sawamura autograph on its own. So the Japanese stuff, even though it seems like you see it often, it's still very, very, rare compared to American issues.
Hey, do you know? I know Gary doesn't have anything listed, but do you know if there were any professional cards in the 30s, before the war? Because I know there's sumo cards, which surprised me.
Yeah, I just picked up a sumo set. This one here, and this one is either late 30s or early 40s, and they're all like, they look like this.
Wow.
But I don't know of any professional. Oh well, no. The only ones would have been 34 tour, and there was Japanese players in that, but that was technically before the league started.
Yeah.
From 36. I don't, and there's some that could be from 46, more like 47. It's hard to tell, but I don't think I've seen anything before that. Anything, 45 or earlier that was a professional card that I know of.
Yeah, the earliest that Gary's got in his book is like late 46, early 47, because the guys are in their 46 uniforms. I've got a handful of those. They're all bromides, but I've just been wondering, is there anything from the 30s? Has anybody seen them? Because figure if there's sumo cards, there could have been baseball cards.
Yeah, I don't know of anything. I mean, was like, we were interviewed for a magazine once. And they said, "What card would you love to find?" Like a Sawamura card from when he played.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is, sometimes the terminology that they use, like I have Yakukai magazines where you could order. They call them, just like pictures, but whether they real bromides or what they look like, there's a fine line of, is this a photo or is this a card?
Yeah.
And they mentioned, a lot of the, the pro players at the time, but I don't remember seeing anything. So I don't know. Yeah, it's just a lot of unknowns, I guess.
Yeah.
But
what's the earliest card you know of for baseball?
Of any baseball? I mean,
Japanese baseball.
I have generic stuff from early 1900s that are just, look, I have some in my showcase that are just round and generic, and I might even have.
That might be like sold as like pitcher or catcher or whatever, running or whatever.
I was thinking that maybe I can find it real quick. Rob Fitz in his book a couple years ago had something from like 1890.
Yeah, I have one that Rob wanted, but I mean, this says one strike on it. I don't know if it's.
Can I see the back? Nice. Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, and I don't know the numbers, and most of the numbers I guess are just for playing games and whatnot and things like that. I don't know. Is this? Let's see. No, this is not baseball. I have so much stuff here. Let's see. But I like you find like cards like this. I always thought, look, it's a Oshita on the Flyers. It's got some English, Japanese. It's nice design. But yeah.
All right, Dave. I know you dabbled in everything, especially more recent stuff. Do you have a favorite, like what I don't know what you consider vintage, like MLB has, but do you have a favorite set from older days? And if, like, I know you're into the newer sets as well. Do you have a favorite newer set as well?
Well, probably like everybody else, my favorite older set is the '67 Kabaya Leaf set. And again, as I said, I won't be completing that one because I just don't have that much money to spend on baseball cards. But I've got about 30 cards from it.
Did you hear about the card that I found that was missing?
Yes, that is so cool.
Number 65.
Yeah, the Gondo card.
Yeah, that was like shock. Yeah, Keith Olbermann bought that.
Yeah, so where'd you find that?
Actually, on Yahoo. Yeah, it was part of a lot with some other cards, and I mean, it was cheap. It wasn't super cheap. It was like, I don't know, $4,800 or something for the lot. So somebody else knew, but I guess that it was rare or something. I don't know. I can't tell who was bidding or not, but yeah, that was shocking to find that.
Oh, that is just amazing. I mean, for
all those years.
Yeah, 50-something years.
Although I still don't understand the numbering for the set. How it jumps around. There's stuff missing.
And it's only half the teams in the league.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that don't make sense. I don't know. And they had all the checklist from Mel Bailey, and I mean I've seen pictures of the check that Mel Bailey bought when he bought out the company, and this Ralph Pierce had all that stuff.
Yeah, I did a post a couple of years ago about the stuff that Bud Ackerman and Mel Bailey had imported, and Ralph gave me like scans of all this stuff. So there's that picture of the Bailey family with all the cards on the table.
Yeah, we tried counting them, and yeah, that was incredible. Here's a couple. I just had these laying around. These are just old Minko, but these are similar early 1900s, crappy shape.
Wow.
Like a guy like this who's Kozuru, and then look how they write his name.
Ozulu
instead of Kozuru. But they're fun. Well, some of the spelling, and it is interesting. Every time there's a card, and it looks like there's some left-handed batter is a little fat. Everyone thinks it's Babe Ruth, no matter what it is. And I get people sending me images. Is this Babe Ruth? I go, no, it's a comedian, or it's just a generic card. Some of them actually say Babe Ruth on them or something, or might really look like him. It's one thing, but they want everything to be Babe Ruth. So.
Well, I remember I used to see this Calby card on being sold on eBay all the time, and it was a 1981 Kikafu from the Tigers, and the guy had it listed. Oh, this is Sada Ahuel, and I'm like, no.
Yeah. It's eBay is the wild west with things. Every Ichiro card that was in BBM was a rookie, they would call it.
Yes.
And right now, the one that really bothers me is that 1934 Tour Japan postcard that PSA was grading. That's kind of looks like this image.
Yep.
And no one believes it's from 34. And we think it's probably even printed in the 70s. and I was talking with Fitz. I showed it to people that do postcards, and yet, I mean, if they're just slabbing it because it says on it, they're slabbing what it says on there, but it's not from 34. I've never seen one that was postmarked, that was used or anything, and they keep slabbing them, and they're putting them for high prices quite often, and it's kind of a shame.
I have that issue with the 1993 Hilo Stars Ichiro card.
Which one?
The Hilo Stars.
Oh, the Hawaiian one.
Card.
Yeah.
It didn't show up until 2001. I mean,
actually, he did have cards back then, and that was what's his face? Because before, when I moved to Japan in '96, he was using the same image, and he had photographs that were autographed by Ichiro. And I remember, because I know that there was a discussion about this, and I was even talking with Gary, and then in 2001, he ended up like reprinting them, and he put 2001 on the cards.
Right, but he says there's ones from '93, and it's like, I was deep into minor league cards at the time, and there was no Hawaiian minor league cards.
Well, it was what's his name? It's called Everyone Brother.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan.
No.
I'm trying to remember his name. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, I forgot too.
Hogs Willie was his handle on eBay.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I forgot it. I can't think of it offhand. But I'm pretty sure he actually did have some back then, and I know he made some again later. And so I think he even asked Gary about it. He goes, "No, if you're gonna do them, you got to have reprint on them. You can't just issue." But I know they had gold ones and different ones. But and I know we were trying to find, and I know we spent a lot of that looking in magazines to see if we could find where they were issued before then. And even Gary remembers, and he's pretty particular on getting the information right. But I'll look around and see if we had anything that could prove it.
I mean, because my thing was he was saying there was 2 cards in the set, and he didn't produce any other cards from the set.
Yeah, it was just Larry Rakowski, is that?
Yeah.
I remember, and I mean, I can because every Ichiro is the most popular. I had some Hilo, the Stars programs that I bought from the Hawaiian League at the time that had Ichiro's picture in there, and I think maybe Taguchi. There was a few other Japanese players.
Yeah,
and
he apparently had the rights to do cards because they did cards in like '96. Like, I think the big name out of that was Shinjo was in the set, Natsunori Inaba, Kenji Jojima was in one of the teams.
I don't know. The details. Yeah, as far as what he had rights to or whatever, and then also even with Calby cards. I mean, there was a lot of them where I don't know if they were reprinted from Calby or not, but the Ichiro cards, the Hokkaido ones, had issues. There was Nomo cards. I mean, we had a stack like this of some of them, and we couldn't sell them because they weren't original, and some of them ended up in PSA holders, and I know, I guess if you compare them with the dots on the back, you can see what was better. But yeah, they did it with Nomo, they did it with Ichiro, and so yeah, it's tough to tell sometimes.
I know my '94 Cowboy Hokkaido Nomo. I'm pretty sure it's real because I actually got it out of a pack.
Okay, there you go.
But I didn't get any of the Ichiros, and I'm pretty sure my '93 BBM Ichiro was legitimate. But it's but yeah,
I guess the problem with the '93 BBM, they made factory sets, so it was a lot easier to get quantities of the rookie cards compared to Takara or the Tomy ID cards for them. And it's weird because I don't know if it was just Giants. Well, they made that Kanebo card they had of Matsui, but there's no Ichiro card. I think I have one of those lying around.
Indiana just got one of those.
Yeah, that was a pretty neat card. And
Dave, do you have a favorite more modern set?
Probably my 2 favorites are the 2001 Upper Deck set and the 2000 BBM 20th Century 9 set. Or I Actually, I've never known what to call the set, but it's like Century Best 9 or whatever. It's 480 card set of like 120 of the greatest players in Japanese baseball history. So each player gets 4 cards in it, and included modern players. So Ichiro is in it, and Eki Matsui. Nomo's in it, but there's no pictures of him.
Yeah. I mean, back in, I guess it was 2000 when Upper Deck was making the cards in Japan. I was working also a little bit with MRM, who made the yellow box sets.
Yeah, the Victory.
Yeah, the Victory ones. And I remember, I don't know if it was the National or a different card show. I went with the other guy from the company. We had a whole suitcase full of them, all those boxes. And I think we ended up selling them. They weren't that expensive at the time. You know, I think 1,500 yen or, $15 or something. Now I see them, they're quite expensive because everybody wants to grade everything. So, and that's an issue. You get one card. I mean, I have cards like nobody, $10, $20. You get them graded and get a 10, and you can sell them for so much more. But now we can't get anything graded, so it's all kind of stuck.
Actually, Robert, I want to ask you, what did you already send off your 300? Wait, are your 300 cards already there?
Yeah, I sent 200 cards in February, and then that was just a bulk submission. I think they were $10 a card. And then I sent 103 cards. They had their 1960s cards, and it was $9 a card. And I sent those in March before they ended that quarterly special. I think they ended it before the end of March, and then they just stopped completely. So I have 303 cards sitting there for 5-6 months that I know it could take another 5-6 months to get them back. But I mean, I'm not in a big rush, but I'm just, and to be honest, I never really liked graded cards. I've been collecting the American Diamond Star set and started the T205 cards, and I like the cards raw, especially the older cards. So I was never really into collecting graded cards, but for reselling them, people seem to really like them. So I figured, what, let me send a whole bunch in and see how they do. And I had some in my auction a few auctions ago, and it was like, couldn't believe some of the prices that they were going for. It was really strong prices. And if the same card was ungraded and it looked no different, it would have been a lot less.
So the 300 cards you sent in, are most of these to try and sell?
Yeah, just for resale. It was mostly older stuff. I was trying to find some cards that looked, nice, like Karuta. I had some Karuta, different game cards, Menko cards, Hall of Famers, and I don't know. I don't know if I said any modern stuff in it at all. I might have sent in a couple of. I think I might have had some Otani cards that I put in there too, from Japan. But I'd sent in a couple of years ago 50 Otani cards, all Japanese cards, and I got almost all 9s and 10s, but nobody really cared. I was able to get like $50 a piece for the 10s and 20, 25 for the 9s. And then once you started getting real popular this year, I sold I think an 8.5 for 75 or something. It was like people just pay anything for, not anything, but a lot more than I expected. So I mean, the national was the best national ever for me, selling stuff in Chicago.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to buy is it the rookie edition when he's holding his bat like that?
Yeah, I think it was number 42. It's weird, and I can't keep up with the American stuff, even the Japanese stuff, because there's a card by himself. There's one, I think, with the 2 versions back and front. There was another one that was a card shop edition or something. And there's so many variations of things. And I noticed that with the Lee Sung-yup cards too. Because I don't do much with the modern stuff, but when I'm buying his cards, I go, what's the difference? Then you see one that's different ink or something, something that's a little different on it. And it's hard to keep up. I don't know how anybody does, but
I just bought I thought I had bought, I think it was a Mercari, so I just bought it. I didn't have to do an auction. I spent $55 on I think it was a 2008 Yomiuri Giants special edition set, where it says special edition in silver. Yeah. And I was excited because I needed that card, because I can't find that card by itself,
Yeah.
and I paid 55 for it, paid for it, was excited to get it shipped, but then
It was canceled.
Bai said it was canceled by the
Oh,
seller.
Macari's really bad. I've had so many things canceled, or they take forever. I don't understand what's wrong with them. And a few times I've actually had. See, the problem with Macari also is, on Yahoo, if you buy something, you buy it. Macari, the buyer has to go and do it themselves, and so there's a long lag time. And if you look at the Japanese Macari, not through Bai, it's still available, so somebody else can buy it before they actually buy it for you. And I found some great stuff on there, and I was like, I need to buy it, and you can't even log into Macari from the U.S. And my friend gave me his login information, and it won't let you, even with the IP, because of the IP address or something. So I couldn't even log in.
Have you tried a VPN?
I tried that too, and it didn't work. I think there's a special one. I kind of gave up, but yeah, because I found some things on there that I really wanted. I go, I can do well with this or something I needed. And
Don't you can't you ask somebody? Don't you have
yeah,
a
I
friend?
did, but by the time I get, can you buy this for me? If they're online and do it quickly, it's one thing. But if the time difference and they're sleeping, and I've even asked two different, and I asked one friend. Actually, I asked Nogami to buy something for me. I saw it was a Sadahara O. It was 756 home run ticket, beating Aaron, and
Wow.
like $150 on there. So I asked him, "Can you buy this for me?" Instead of buying it, he asked us if he can get it cheaper. Because you can ask them the question. You take a little less. By the time we did it, somebody else bought it. I go, I didn't want to buy it cheap. I just wanted to buy it because, it's such a hard thing to find. So I'm like, oh well.
Don't do that anymore. Just buy the card.
Just buy it. It wasn't, but yeah, Macari's. I actually bought it was an American card, I guess. So it was a Hulk Hogan, and it was a signed card, and it was numbered, and I thought it was good. It was like $100 something, and never went through. And I don't know. I ended up getting my money back, but yeah, there was a few things that just got canceled, and I don't. But Macari is a lot worse than Yahoo as far as transactions and whatnot.
I'm trying to find. I want to show you guys. Not that it matters. I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me. Kyle. Excuse me. All right. It looks like I had all right. I only know one card that had the N9. I had two N6s in my PSA sub and one N9. And the N9 is a 2011 BBM Gold Signature Parallel. And they didn't grade that for me. Yeah. All right. I also sent in two Takaras. I'm wondering if those are the two that were graded, not graded, and given doesn't meet criteria size. All right, so I sent in a 93 Calbia Matsui, a 93 Kanebo Gold Matsui, 93 Takara Matsui, 93 Takara Ichiro, and then the rest of them, 2006 through 2015, are all Japanese or Korean Isang Yep cards. So I'm just wondering what those two that weren't graded and given doesn't meet size requirement are going to be. I bet you it's going to be one of the smaller cards that the guy didn't know what he was doing.
It's possible. Actually, I sent them an Ichiro rookie, and the card was kind of slanted too much. It was kind of cut bad, and they wouldn't grade it. They sent it back to me. I didn't have to pay for it, but
that'd probably be the case with mine. My BBM Ichiro rookie is got an odd cut at the bottom.
Yeah, but yeah. I don't know. Some of these grading companies, I don't know if the people know what they're doing or not sometimes.
No, I don't know who they have checking Japanese cards. I don't know if it's somebody they think is a pro or not, but they could definitely use the help of somebody here.
The thing is, I know Gary consults with PSA, and they'll ask him questions and stuff on certain things. But yeah, I mean, either you're supposed to know what you're doing or don't grade them at all. And I had an issue with SGC. I sent them I was sending them cards, never had a problem. I even sent them a bunch, $15 a piece. I was sending them Bruce Lee, Amakatsu cards, some wrestling cards, baseball cards, no issue. Then all of a sudden, they want to start upcharging for things.
Because of research.
I go, for research, who are you going to contact to research? Me? I don't know what they were going to do, because I used to help SGC with Japanese cards. They would contact me and, what are these? And then give me discount or free grading and whatnot. And this was a couple of years ago. And it's like, Look, I go, I understand if I sent you a card and I had no information about it, I go, you figure out what it is. Then maybe you could charge me for research or something. But I'm telling you exactly what it is. You can easily find out what it is. And I thought it was kind of ridiculous. So they kind of backed off for the most part on that.
Yeah, so this is a 2005 Kuja Wook Korean card. This is his rookie card. And so I submitted the card, and it's going to be hard. I'm trying to get this in focus. All right, so down on the bottom, SBC 1502, that's 2015 season 2, card number 81, normal N. This is what I put on the form. They used his jersey number as the card number. And so if I want to get this changed, I have to submit it in for a MAC error. And see, this shit annoys the hell out of me.
Yeah. And, so I sent in 3 cards to CSG, the new grading company. And actually, I sent in 3 Tiger Woods cards from 2001. And the whole thing was a complete mess. And they ended up sending them back to me, telling me that the cards were a little too big. And I heard other people said the same thing. I go, how are they too big? They're standard cards. So I don't know. These grading companies, they're just all over the place with stuff. I don't know. I don't get it.
All right. There were 2 eBay auctions I saw of supposedly Shigeo Nagashima Cowboy cards, and the guys on the cards were wearing Shinichi Dragon uniforms. But they graded them and said there's Shigeo Nagashima. I'm like, no.
Look, I mean, PSA has done that. There was a card from Europe, and I forgot, there was a swimmer named Dorothy, and then her coach is in there. And they labeled it as Babe Ruth. And it was clear. And then there's a whole thing, and it's not Babe Ruth. There's a stamp or something from like 1914, 15 that's Rube Marquardt. And and they labeled it as Babe Ruth, and people were selling him as Babe Ruth, and then they stopped. So I don't know, like some things they won't grade it because they don't know what it is, and other things they just go with it, making mistakes. I mean, even the Babe Ruth postcard from 1929, for a long time it was 1928 Shonen Kulubu, and I go, that's because Kurabu in the Japanese sounds like Kurubu, and they put Kulubu on the holder. I'm like, it should just be Shonen Club, and it was from 1929 because I had the magazine and the packaging was from August. So eventually they ended up changing it, but it was everything. Sometimes a battle with them to get things done right, and
it's pulling teeth.
Yeah. And and then just more and more get out there, like with that 34 postcard. I was at SGC once. It was a couple of years ago, and a guy came in with one of them, and I happened to be there. And they said, what do you think of this? I go, I don't think this is made in 34. Plus, it's in English. Nothing looks right about it that it would even been an American issue. So, it's crazy. I don't know.
I have another question from Diego here that perhaps both of you can answer, but I know Dave can help with it. Let's see here. There we go. All right, from Diego. Sorry, is there any other sports cards? And of course, Diego, if you go to Dave's blog at Japanese baseball cards. Japanese baseball cards.blogger.com, blogspot.com. Off the top of your head, Dave, can you just mention all the sports that you know of that has cards?
In Japan?
Yeah.
There's
a lot.
Yeah, soccer is probably the other big one, the biggest one, but I mean,
volleyball. But ping pong.
Yeah, volleyball, badminton, bowling, curling, chess on ice. I'm trying to think what else. Sumo, wrestling. Sorry.
Badminton.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You know what set is really nice? The 73 Calvi sumo set.
I'm not into sumo, but
yeah, I'm not really either, but that's.
Do you know?
It's weird. That's the only year they did it.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but.
Robert, do you know Sumo Manko Man?
Do
you know Dave? Do you know his name?
It's Ryan, and I'm spacing his last name.
Yeah, I know Ryan. Yeah, he's bought stuff. I forgot his last name too. Jeez. Yeah, he's bought stuff from me. Yeah, there's. Yeah, there's all kinds, especially all the girls' cards that they made over the years. I have some from when I was in Japan, and there's
Can either of you answer this? From Boston Bean Eater. Aside from wrestling, I've seen Calbee cards of Japanese soccer players on eBay, 70s and 80s, I think.
yeah.
Well, I don't think the J League started until the early '90s, so I think that's the earliest there are soccer cards for.
Yeah. Well, I have these. This is a Japanese Rui Ramos. This is a Calbee card from.
What year is that? Do you know?
I think it's from the '80s. I have.
Yeah, because that looks like the back of an '80s one.
Yeah, here's a '92 Calbee card of him. Well, actually '93. It's a Calbee.
I'm sorry. What year did you say that was?
This one's '93.
Okay, I was going to say it looks nice and shiny.
Yeah.
Too much for 80s or 70s card.
Yeah. There are. Yeah, this is '92, '93. Here's a Nakata. This one's shiny. And then
I think there's a really big. There's some Japanese soccer player doing really well. I keep seeing his stuff on my Twitter timeline. I forgot what league he's in though.
It's in Europe somewhere, isn't he?
I think so. I don't think it's the Premier League though. I think it's another league.
yeah, I think this is like '87 or '8, but I'm not sure. Okay.
I saw BBM had hair knot ones.
Of course they did.
It's the Juicy Honey sets. Yeah.
Yeah.
Juicy Sumo.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know.
What can you tell me what you guys are you guys? What are you guys doing with your collections right now? What are you looking to buy or looking to work on? Anything specific?
Well, for me, I'm always just looking for old stuff for myself, which I don't know if it's good or bad that I don't find stuff that often because, like I said, I've also been collecting American stuff. I just got the T205. I just got this in, which all the other ones I have are ungraded. So a lot of them might end up cracking out, but because they're kind of lower grade anyway. But yeah, I'm always looking for anything from the Meiji Taisho era, and whether it's postcards or actually I picked up a postcard on Yahoo of a women baseball player, and I got to do some research on it. I don't know if it's much popular, but it's an old card, I think early 1900s.
I love those photos you picked up.
Oh yeah, the large bromides.
The ones you did, the video you did, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them were for Gary. So, because we buy sometimes stuff together and he gets stuff for his collection. And then, some of them were real nice. I still have some of those here, and then some of those I'm getting back from him that he didn't need. But, some of the color ones are, gorgeous. And it's just, I don't know. The interesting thing is just finding, new sets and new cards that we've never seen before. A guy sent me an email. He had some Menko cards. There was a Nagashima one. Never saw it before.
Wow.
It actually said on it in Japanese, Shinji no Rookie of the Year. And it was 1958 it said on it. So I assume it was late 58 or early 59. But every once in a while we'll get cards we never saw before, didn't know they existed, or things that we hardly ever see. And that's what's so exciting about it. American cards, try to find something new is, you don't often do. But
I have always been surprised. Every so often I'll send something off to Gary and he's like, yeah, I never saw that before. I'm like, wow. Yeah. I just put it on eBay.
Yeah. And I mean, the other problem too is there's stuff on eBay. There's one seller, and I always forget his name, TTY something.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of the stuff, like he has some of the wrong information. He put up some cards I think it was from 49, and he said they were from 41, which is no cards from 41. And then everything you have is like 1950 with a what do you call it, like an apostrophe. And it's like, well, this from 60. It was like, it's all over the place. So I don't know if people are actually looking at that or they just look at the card and go, I like that card.
That's what I usually do when I look at his stuff. It's like, okay, he doesn't know what it's from. Maybe he'll know the name, but
Yeah.
but
they are affordable though. He does.
Yeah.
I
think every listing he has, it still says every card is Sugiura and a 9.5, and all he has is shipping and handling $250. But yeah, he's got a large selection, and then I don't know. There's another guy in there, Akko something, that AKAO.
Akko 23 or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I never like. Some of them are real sneaky because some of them, they work together. I've seen things on, especially with the Otani cards, where they're selling them on eBay for a high price. They're cheaper on Yahoo, and it's like the guy selling it hoping that if somebody buys it, he can buy it from the guy on Yahoo and sell it. All kinds of games that go on because people buy something and go, oh, well, I'm out of it because they didn't own the card. And I've seen the same pictures in both places. I've done that before. I saw a guy had a Suguroku, the sheet. I saw it on eBay. I looked on Yahoo. This is the same seller with the same thing for a lot less money.
Wow.
So, yeah,
I did buy from Akko 23 before.
Yeah, I think he's the one that sends by FedEx. He charges like $15 for everything.
Something like that. Well, I told him, ship it to my friend in Korea. Ship it to my friend in Japan, and then he will just decrease the shipping for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have to mention it.
Yeah. But yeah. One thing I was going to mention, I noticed a lot of times, I don't know if you have difficulty pronouncing some of the names or whatnot. No, for Dan, sometimes you're not sure, but I don't know if you're aware of the rule. In Japanese, everything is a, I, U, E, O. All the vowels, so they're always the same.
Okay.
It's kind of like, I don't know if you know Spanish, so when you're reading them, that way it makes it easier to. Some of them get a little confusing when there's a little O or something or some, but most of them, because I've heard people, my friend Aoki, people always call him Aoki. And it's not A, it's A, because there's no A sound in Japanese, really. So it's A. So it's always the same. So it helps you, reading or figuring them out.
Well, the problem I have is a lot of times I've got to unlearn how to say something. Because, like, when I went to elementary school, there was a kid in my class with the last name Aoki, but we all pronounced it Aoki.
Yeah.
So it took me years to break that.
Yeah, I think Steve Aoki pronounces his name like that. He's the famous DJ and has been into cards. But yeah, technically, that's why it's just A, I, U, E, O, and it never changes. So, even like people call him Matsui when it's Matsui.
Right.
And a lot of names. That's why at least
I'm sure in America you always hear Choi when it should be Che.
Yeah. Well, I get the Korean names wrong too. My wife.
Yeah.
At least her name's Cho, so it's easy to. And she's supposed to be going to Korea next week, so she got the exemption for having to quarantine. So I don't know. Everything's a mess here with traveling.
Yeah, I don't know either, to be honest. I just have my I have my number 2 shot next Friday, this coming Friday.
Oh, okay.
I don't really pay attention to news. I just know whatever numbers aren't good as they used to be. But yeah,
I'm in Florida, so nothing's good here. And we had 27,000 cases today. I think Seoul gets 1,800, and they panicked the other day, and it's like,
I mean, Korea has the population of New York State and California State combined, and we get 2,000 a month, 2,000 a day.
Yeah, and it's nothing compared to here, but it's just, I don't know. I just wish it would kind of end somehow so we can travel, because it's like another year that I can't go to Japan. And Japan, at least Korea, I think you can enter Korea, and if you want to quarantine or whatever. But Japan, you can't even enter Japan. I was hoping I could make the Olympic team to go, but that didn't work out. So I don't have any other choice. So I don't.
Yeah, me too. I got the shirt.
Oh yeah. I was thinking, but yeah. Now they have the Paralympics going on, and then I guess once that's done, then maybe they'll concentrate. But even with the vaccine, they had a big trouble. The Moderna one, I think they had to get rid of like 1 million of them. Some got contaminated. So yeah, Japan's just closed, so it's it's tough. And I saw a lot of, I watched videos. There's a lot of live videos from Tokyo you can watch on YouTube or different parts of Japan. And you can see Akihabara, there's like very few people there, and a bunch of stores have closed down or moved or whatever. And it's really sad that, just getting, the economy's getting killed, and they not even sure what to do anymore, But
Rappers is shut down again. They've closed down for the duration again.
Well, yeah. I just saw the Pokemon Center. All of the stores are closing now for temporarily. Yeah, I just saw this comment he made about giving out free stuff. Actually, I heard they mentioned that they're going to actually stop giving out free vaccines for people, I think, in the U.S. and they're going to start charging a lot more, and insurance is going to go up for people, trying to get them to get the vaccine. Like, if you don't get it by this time, that you might pay a lot more for health insurance. They're not going to cover you if you end up in the hospital, and all this type of stuff, trying to encourage people to get it. So I'm not sure what's going to happen, but it's I don't see an end to this, which is difficult, because people want to travel and get back to a little more normalcy.
Yeah, I'd like to go to Japan and USA again.
Yeah, but I mean, technically, you can go to the U.S., right? You can go to the U.S. and go back to Korea, I guess, and
I
you may have to quarantine. And I know there's a lot of tests.
I think if I come back, I don't know. To be honest, I haven't researched anything. I know that before, if I went there and came back, I'd have 2-week quarantine, and I don't have the time to do that.
Yeah, I know, that's the difficult. Like, even if they let me go to Japan, I can't quarantine for two weeks in a hotel. First of all, I'd go crazy, but I don't even go for 2 weeks when I go. So, unless things get back where you can just back to normal, which I have no idea when. Because last year we were thinking, by this year March we could go, and then we're already on almost September, and it's not any better. So, but at least we got Yahoo, and we can still do stuff online and things like that. So,
how was the Orioles game the other day? I know that here in Korea you have to wear a mask. There's no eating, no drinking. You just sit in your seat. They won't really let you get up and move around too much.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we're back to wearing masks inside, where we had a couple months of not doing that. Maybe I should have worn a mask. I don't know. I'm fully vaccinated. The people I was with were all fully vaccinated, but
yeah, I don't know. I think that's the big problem they had in Israel. They were one of the highest vaccinations, but they started getting real lax with the masks and all the party, whatever going on, and then they went from basically no cases to 9,000 or something. So I think they started getting strict again. But here it's people just kind of gave up and just don't even care anymore, I think. And I don't know.
Interesting. Look at this.
Yeah.
Challenge games require a mask when you're inside, but no mask when you're in your seat.
Yeah, even when they require it, a lot of people don't do it. And what are they going to do? They can't. Like, I was at the National. I think, I don't know, 5% at the most were wearing masks when they were walking around. With not many, and you're in a big crowded room, and people from all over the country coming in, and I don't know. I mean, I had my mask on. I was behind my booth most of the time, and when I got back, I got tested anyway, and I was negative. So,
No, smart.
I got back in February, so it's almost time for a booster, possibly. So,
yeah,
I don't know, but it's just a mess.
All right.
But anyway,
well, I know you have a Japanese lesson coming up, right?
Yeah, no, not today. No, it's.
Oh, okay.
I've been doing a lot less of them, and just. I've been using italki for. So
italki is good.
Yeah, because you have they have for every language. You can get Korean, Japanese, whatever language you want, and they have. It's like this Skype. You just can have a conversation. They can teach you grammar, whatever you pay for. With the. They have community tutors or professional teachers, and they charge different rates. But yeah, if you just wanted to practice Korean, talking to someone, I can do Korean, but
yeah,
I do
okay.
But
Well, I don't. We're at hour and 40 minutes. I know
Yeah.
we could probably do this again sometime. You know, get Justin in here because I'm sure he'd want to talk to you guys.
Unless Justin wants me on his show, or at least mention him one time.
Yeah. So thank you for joining, guys. I really appreciate it. It was
Oh,
a
yeah.
pleasure having both of you guys on.
Yeah, I appreciate it too.
Yeah,
right,
nice to finally meet you, Robert.
Yeah, good to meet you too.
Yeah, this is what I'm mostly excited about is having you guys on here together.
Yeah, I don't know, because of the pandemic, we get a lot more of this type of meet more people now because of YouTube and the Zoom or what are we on here? This little ducky thing, oh, StreamYard. Yeah.
All right. Obviously,
The Nationals in Atlantic City next year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be in Atlantic City.
So that's like a 2-hour drive from here. So I'm planning on going over.
Go.
Yeah, I drive to every national, so it's a little closer than Chicago, a couple of hours. But I mean, the flying is horrible because you can't really fly to Atlantic City easily, and people go to Philadelphia and then they got to take a train or something to get there for an hour.
Yeah.
And the hotels are real expensive, and it's not the best situation, but we can't help it, I guess. So make the best.
All right. Well, again, it was a pleasure having you guys, and I'll keep in touch with you guys on Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah, definitely.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.